Hello there and good afternoon, everyone. Doggy-phobia has struck Wales like a thunderbolt. Or more accurately, Sinophobia has gripped Wales, Sinophobia being the official term for the fear of dogs. Yes, Climate Cymru BAME has compiled a report for the Welsh Government, and I understand has been paid for it via taxpayer dosh, that includes the gem of banning dogs from certain open areas so as to promote diversity. Although, get this, according to the Daily Mail, the report does not explain how banning dogs would increase diversity. But I suspect that Richard knows and will tell us in a minute. Well, Andrew R.T. Davies, Tory leader in the Welsh Senedd, called it divisive nonsense submitted as part of Labour's so-called anti-racist Wales action plan. The whole thing should be scrapped. Yes, and it's all part of the Welsh Government plan to make Wales an anti-racist nation by 2030. Strange how 2030 crops up in absolutely everything, isn't it? And I wonder if that anti-racism thing extends to the English, who will soon be heading in their droves to Wales to escape this UK diversity explosion. Now, before I bring Richard in, I'll ask, what better way to integrate into the UK than to learn to love our pets? So, Richard, what on earth do you think about this?
As if it couldn't get any more insane. The Welsh Government is teetering on the edge of banning dogs from the countryside because they make the outdoors more racist, apparently. They could do. I mean, that's the recommendation of this report that they have commissioned. I mean, what the actual... This is what happens when you let a load of left-wing nutters loose to run a country. Just, please, can we just make this stop? And have no doubt that these dogs will soon be branded as homophobic too, due to the increased number of dogs as a percentage being heterosexual. I'm sure that will be the next move. And never misgender a dog. Oh no, in Wales, if you do that, you'll be forced to drive at 20 miles per hour for the rest of your life anywhere in the world. Yes. Now, the Welsh Government has apparently denied that they will act on the recommendations to deal with racist dogs, but this is a Labour government in Wales, and just like the Labour government in Westminster, that means you should not believe a word that they say, not one word. This is the same Welsh Government that banned the sale of children's clothes and briefly even baby milk during in Wales during the nasty cough period. Yes. So why should this banning of dogs in Wales possibly be a recommendation in tackling racism? That's a good question. Well, one reason could be, I'm not saying could be, that a certain demographic coming into this nation don't like dogs. No, they don't like dogs particularly at all, on the grounds of religious beliefs, especially black dogs. Yes. Oh, they really don't like black dogs, actually. Yeah. So what is the probability that all these dogs will be banned or culled in Wales? Well, I have no idea. But as I said, living in Wales during the bad cough and witnessing the introduction of 20 miles per hour speed limits has taught me one thing, and that's never underestimate how stupid the Welsh Government is and the lengths that they will go to virtue signal their way through power, just to be more woke and virtue signal more than Westminster. They'll do this. It was a competition. Scotland were doing the same as well, if you remember. During the nasty cough, they were trying to outdo restrictions on, trying to outdo Wales and England and Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, we have more pressing issues, though, like the amount of illegal and ever more worryingly legal immigration entering this country. Maybe that's why the Welsh Government are pushing the Overton window with its wokeness, so that Wales can accommodate this mass influx of offendable persons. Yes, get rid of the dogs. That's one less thing for them to get offended about. Oh, I can hear it now, echoing as I walk through the streets of the market towns in Wales. Maximus, stop goose-stepping in front of the Indian takeaway, and that bark definitely had far-right overtones to it. And next time you take a pee on the on the lamppost outside Mr. Khan's house. I will be taking you straight to the police station so you can be arrested for a canine non-crime hate incident. You racist little pooch, you. Yes. And what about cats? Why are they getting away so easily? You know, even the humble budgie might find itself in hot water if they're not careful. In fact, I had a mate called Tish. Now, he used to have a budgie called Floyd. And if you like, later on, I might actually go into a little bit about Floyd, the budgie, and Tish. Quite a good little story there for you. But anyway, Jeff, so what do you think?
Well, it's quite funny you should mention that about the Welsh government, because this is what they actually said. There are no plans to ban dogs from the countryside, and any suggestion otherwise is inaccurate and a complete misrepresentation of the report. But they do openly admit this was the feedback from those that were asked. And they are now stuck in a quandary. Are they going to bow to the will of the minority as their lefty dogma demands, or ignore that minority? Now, there's a big question for them, isn't it? You asked them, they told you, and they're a minority, and we all know what lefties do, don't we? Oh, yes, and if you're going to ignore them, you might lose their votes. Now, that would be a bit of a nasty thing to happen to you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is playing towards a demographic, clearly. I think that's the reasoning behind it. Maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know how. They haven't actually gone into too much detail on how they specified this. Specified why having dogs would be making the countryside, the outdoors racist. Very strange.
It is.
But I can see with this information getting out about demographics not liking dogs, in particular black dogs. I can imagine, some of these far right people will start buying lots of black dogs, don't you think?
Yes, that might be nasty, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, it might be a bit of a
It's because they need to walk their goldfish, and we'll ban cats next. You watch. Yeah, you walk your goldfish every day. Ban the cats. Yes.
You can't have these racist goldfish around the place. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's yes, here we go. It's utter insanity. I would agree, it's total insanity. I mean, these leftists, I don't know where they sit around. They must sit there scratching their heads every day. What more can we do to push this agenda? Can someone think of something else even more stupid to suggest than the last one? That's what must go through their heads. I wonder if that's what they get trained to do in university these days. You want something done, make a really stupid suggestion and see if people follow it. Yeah,
Well, I remember, I just remember clear. This is the Welsh government. I remember my young son was born, and he had in 2020, and he had an allergy with milk, and I had to, I had to go around to get very specialist milk on the supermarket. And you go to the supermarket, and it wasn't for long. But all the areas you couldn't buy the baby milk. It was cordoned off. You couldn't buy baby milk. What the? Absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, he was newborn. Luckily, I managed to buy a load of clothes for him. We bought quite a few clothes for myself and my ex, and he had enough to see him through. But I mean, the insanity of it. You couldn't buy children's clothes. It wasn't deemed essential. Yet you could do other things. Oh, that period of time. When we look back at that period of time, we will realise, especially in Wales, how ludicrous it was. You couldn't go any further than 5 miles, I think it was, from your house.
Yeah,
just crazy.
Well, they were just preparing us for their big plans, weren't they? And that's what it was all about. They had these marvelous plans. I mean, part of it was gearing us up for net zero lockdowns. Oh, the sun's too hot today, so you must all stay indoors, or you mustn't travel anywhere because you might put a puff of carbon in the air, which will blow the entire planet up. So that's what they were gearing up to do, to keep us locked down, keep our lives as small as possible, stop us consuming things and going around the place. They want all that for themselves. They want all their travel. Have you noticed they're all the ones in the big jets, the big cars, traveling around, pointing at us and saying, "Don't do that, don't do this." That's what they want. Them going around, having a great time, visiting the great and good in the world, staying in big hotels, big yachts, all the rest of it, while the rest of us have to stay in our little tiny small lives. Well, I'm for one, I'm not putting up with it. Don't know about you.
I didn't play along with, I have to say, I didn't play along with their games during the lockdown, because I knew that it was a load of rubbish. I just knew straight away. As I said, as soon as I heard that Nadine Dorries, when she said that her main symptom of the bad cough was a loss of sense of smell and taste, I knew, because a few months before, in 2019, I'd had those exact same symptoms. So I wasn't playing any of those ridiculous games.
Well, I do remember they came out with a specific date. They actually said, if you had a cough before this date, it's not the big C, you know, but if you got it after that date, it definitely is. And that was how they did it. I think it was February the 28th. And that was it, before or after. And it all was based on that date. Stupid. And people believed it. Yes, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's put up, I've just missed it. I can't put it up now. Someone's put up racist clouds. Clouds are generally white, aren't they? So the nice summery ones, they're racist.
Thank you, actually, that person, because you just reminded me of something I was going to say. We could get quite, I mean, I know it's going slightly off topic, but during the lockdowns, of course, there was very few. There were some, but very few jets flying overhead and very little traffic on the roads. And I remember, because I live, as you know, Jeff, in the Brecon Beacons, and I have never seen nature bloom like it did. I have lived my life in that area. And that summer, it was, I mean, that spring and summer was astonishing. It was so beautiful. The air just seemed sweeter. The sky, you didn't have all these like crisscrosses. I'm not going to talk about chemtrails and all that sort of thing, and the difference between that and contrails. We can go into that. I don't know about it, to be honest with you. I do have a certain bias, but anyway, I'm not going into that. But yes, all of a sudden something had changed. It was quite noticeable and identifiable as because there were no planes overhead. There was so much less traffic. Now, I'm not one of these people who says, oh, we should just, ban cars and all this, that, and the other, but well, it did make me wonder, wouldn't it be nice if we just go back to living where we live and have horses and carts and just live off the land a little bit? I'm not into this net zero stuff and climate change. I'm sorry, I want nothing to do with that ideology, but it was so much nicer. It's almost like, it did feel like we were being poisoned. I don't care how conspiratorial that sounds, but when that stuff wasn't in the sky, it was blue. The sky was blue. Sorry. Total tangent.
It's quite funny, actually, that during that period, because there used to be a data set that came out every day, was updated every hour, in fact, on the amount of carbon in the atmosphere. And it was measured and published for all the scientists. I can't find that data set anymore. They seem to have removed that part, but it didn't change. When he went through that lockdown and all the planes were grounded, do you remember all those aeroplanes, all those jets were laid out in fields and in the deserts, loads of them, because they couldn't be used. They were just there. Cars were off the road. They even had deer going through towns because there was no humans up and about, so they decided to have a go and see what was going on. Nature was returning. Carbon emissions were down, but the carbon in the atmosphere still climbed at the same rate. And I thought, that's a bit strange, but that seems to have gone. Anyway.
I remember you mentioning that, actually, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Start the one for V Vendetta movement. Well, yes, that's why I've got a red curtain, by the way. V for Vendetta. I'll come on in the mask one day and have a little chat with people. Do you remember that? I want to have a chat with you or something like that. Yeah. Yes. Let's have a look. I had a gay dog called Moses. Right, okay. Well, there you go.
That can happen. You can have gay dogs, and I'm sure
Absolutely,
yeah, it does happen. I think it's rarer than in humans, and because of that, as I said earlier, that's potentially why we could see dogs being branded as homophobic.
Oh yes, I'm calling one of my new dogs Trump, and I'm moving to Wales, says D. Well, there you go. You'd be welcome there. The Welsh government won't like you. They'll hound you out. They'll hound you out.
Oh,
Oh,
oh
wasn't that
dear.
clever of me?
Oh, Jeff.
Spoke to it's Chris Buster. Spoke to my dog about the ban in Wales, so we won't be able to go there. He didn't seem to be upset. I could see why, you know. Yeah, they don't like dogs so much. I mean, you know, I can understand in certain areas of Wales where they would get worried about livestock worrying, you know,
Yes,
chasing sheep and the
yes.
like, which is fair enough. But diversity, dogs, you know, banning dogs for diversity. If you want to be diverse, then those people who come here and have got a problem with dogs should learn to live with dogs. That's called diversity.
Mm, yeah. Well, hmm. We just know. We just know. I mean, the sheer fact that this has even been discussed. You know, we were debating, Jeff and I, whether to do this video
Yeah,
because it is a bit of a ludicrous topic. But
yeah,
it's still, it was in the papers, and we were like, oh my, this is being discussed right now. And thank you to a friend of mine, John, for alerting me to this as well. I just think it just says the times we're living. It's indicative of the times we're living in, I should say. Yeah.
yeah, yes. Oh, what about, and all the black sheep could do was stuff his face. Is that right? Okay. My Yorkshire Terrier is black and tan. Do I put her in home confinement? Oh, God, they have to move so fast. Home confinement because she has no rights. Well, yeah, we don't know which it is, do we? So, yeah, there you go. Oh, right. Goldfish are just racist fish because they're gold, presumably. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the as Richard was saying when he said, "Oh, we've got to do this story because he looked at it," and I went, "Are people really interested in the fact that the Welsh?" And I suddenly realised, of course they are. I mean, this is a blow to our basic sort of Britishness in loving our pets, loving
Mm.
our dogs, and looking after pets, and how pets look after us when you've got them and you love them. They love you, and and for some people, they're just about their only companion. So having a dog is really quite fundamental to their lives.
It goes way back. This does. It's a
Yeah,
symbiotic relationship we have with dogs because they used to offer us protection and alert us to wild
yeah,
animals, etc. What they used to get was a share of the hunt as well. Now, what's
yeah,
very interesting, is the dogs would prefer apparently the leaner meat from the kills of the
yeah,
bison or whatever it was, and the humans would go for the fattier meats and the organ meats. So they were the
yeah,
treasured parts of the. So yeah, I mean, they got to eat, and we got to eat, and we got a bit of protection as well from them. So yeah,
yeah.
also protect you against other nasty humans out there as well. Mm,
Yes, yeah, attack dogs and all that sort of thing, and guard
yeah.
dogs. Yeah, very useful, but they are very loyal as well. If you treat them well, they're extremely loyal. So
Mm.
yeah, it's when you mistreat them that things start going wrong, or you get them to or you know it basically that's the thing. I know there are going to be some just like humans that are going to be hardwired a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know some humans. You look at them and the way they look at you, you know that they're wired up differently to you, don't you? You know, there's
Well, it's just
something
bad
wrong there.
breeding. It's bad
Yeah,
breeding. I mean, just like the royal
yeah.
family, it's bad breeding. Yeah.
Yes. Well, what about dogfish? Someone's asked. What about
Ah,
dogfish? Are they banned as well? That'd be even worse, wouldn't it? I don't know. Yeah. Can't have anyone round to your house if you've got a dogfish.
I'm not going to say who, Jeff, right? But I have a friend who you know,
All right. Okay.
and he has got an issue with somebody who owns a restaurant. Okay.
Right.
So he's been telling people, oh, don't eat in that restaurant. No. You know the fish and chips in there? It's not even cod. It's catfish. It's catfish. And people go, oh, really? I'm not eating that. Did you hear that, Glennis? They serving catfish in there.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
Yeah. There you go. So, oh, they like cats with salt and pepper, says Julie Little. Yes. What about dogs for the blind? Oh, yeah, yeah. Are we going to ban? Well, that's a good point. Are we going to
Oh,
ban that blind dogs? That means banning blind people from these areas. Now, how
no,
inclusive is that? Oh, well
no,
observed. That's an excellent comment.
no,
Yes.
no. They can still do it because you got your guide gerbils. Don't forget.
Guide gerbils, yeah. You can
Yeah,
bring your
yeah.
guide something
Each
something
blind
else.
person. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it takes 6 gerbils to be the equivalent dog. So
Yes.
you
Yeah.
got to somehow fix them all onto leads, and
Yeah.
yeah, you sort it. Don't worry about it.
My
Not a
mum
problem.
bought an ethnic pudding. Right, there you go. So it must be okay. It must be a good pudding, but you mustn't eat it though. Mustn't eat an ethnic pudding.
Mm.
Well, I don't know about you, but I just find this whole situation quite disturbing, really, in some ways. That people who have that have a problem with dogs dictate to the rest of us. Because a lot of people, people do love dogs. When I always smile when I see someone with a dog. I think dogs are great. They're happily going around doing their own thing in the park, minding their own business, as long as you clear up their business, of course. That's fine. I just don't have a problem with dogs at all, and I don't understand why other people would. I understand that some people mistreat their dogs, and those can be a problem. But yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon, Richard?
Yeah. Oh, so I got one question here by somebody. I've lost it now. Somebody asking if the channel is going to be just you hosting, or have you changed your channel to a double show? Well, basically, Jeff, you can answer this yourself, but it always has been a double show. It's just that I've been
Yeah.
more in the background. In fact, I was years ago when it was the two of us. I was the one who went out in front of the camera first, and then Jeff sort of took over. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That was a long time ago.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
But we both sort of, I work on each video with Jeff, and this is how it's through conversations like we're having now that the videos are formed. And Jeff will still be doing other videos. He's done one today. He did one yesterday, just ordinary, what you call short form, straight videos. But yeah, Jeff, do you want to answer that one at all?
But yeah, we've been together for so long, and and we always bounce off of each other all these ideas, and this is what we're doing. This is how we talk. This is how we get through
Yeah.
these things, to try and tease out the arguments. Because sometimes being on your own, you think you got all the answers, and just now has just been proved. I never even got the guide dog angle. Neither of us did, but that's an important angle. We are now this proposal by this lefty organisation would actually stop blind people going there, wouldn't it? Because they wouldn't be able to take their dog. So it's not inclusive. And it's those sorts of things that having more than one mind on the job, between us we have one anyway, then it does help.
Yeah. Well, how long are we working together now? It was
16 years or something. I can't remember.
2008 it was, 2008.
Oh, God. Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dogs are just right-wing thugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then there's the sniffer dogs.
The
sniffer dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you remember there's that phase where children were identifying as pets and animals in schools, and they were coming home and saying, "Oh, I'm a cat, and you have to treat me like a cat." And if you didn't, you were in trouble. If you didn't treat your child like a cat, the teachers could like.
Actually, if your child comes home and says, "I'm identifying as a dog," you can say, "Well, we're going to the Welsh mountains today, but we can't take you. You'll have to stay at home in your basket." Yeah.
Are you ready to be neutered then?
Now I'm conscious of the time, but I have looked, and I'm wondering whether to go on to that next subject we talked about, Richard.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, go for it, mate.
There is another thing that cropped up today. This is a sort of along the same lines, if you get my drift, but it's quite important because according to the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, the UK experienced a 52.9% surge in migration last year, the highest among the wealthy nations. And I'm assuming that's just legal migration. And South Korea was in second place with a 50.9% increase. Now, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage said, in 6 of the last 8 quarters where levels of legal migration were at record levels in the history of these islands, GDP per capita went down. Mass immigration is making us poorer. Now, as I've said before, GDP per capita is a good indicator of our individual wealth in general terms. It's just averaged out. So if GDP per capita is not going up or is even going down, on average, we are all getting poorer. So having mass migration, inward migration, doesn't seem to be helping. It seems that we might be importing too many doctors, too many nurses, too many architects, too many veterinary surgeons, and all the rest of it. And for some reason, it's not boosting our economy. And at this rate, we'll soon start seeing doggy no-go areas across the land for previously said reasons.
Yeah.
So, all I've got to say is, how long before we see pig farms being banned in certain areas, or churches being pulled down by our own authorities for the sake of diversity? What do you reckon?
Highly likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be pulling kennels down and veterinary surgery. Yeah. So a quick one here for Mike Hipperson. Thank you for your super chat. Welsh dogs don't go woof, they go bark.
Oh, no. Oh, dear me.
Yeah, you have a Bucky bark.
Oh, thanks very much for that.
Nice one, Mike. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, we have got... Go on, Jeff.
It just seems to me that the government is not, it doesn't matter which government it is, the government as an establishment body will not be curbing migration. It's in their DNA to keep it going. All the main parties are complicit in this. And they wish to completely destroy the country as we know it and rebuild it in their form. And the only thing between them and their communist leveled down utopia is us, the ordinary people. But we've got to go about it the right way. We've got to send the message through the ballot box, and it's got to be a firm answer. Do not vote for any of them. Doesn't matter how good they say they are or how good you think they individually are, because you'll notice when a party's going down the tubes, all the candidates stand up and say, oh, don't look at the party, look at how good I am. That's what they do. They try to divert away. They don't put their leader's picture on their election material anymore. And I think you'll see that happening in May. As soon as this coming May, in the local council elections in, I don't know, there's several hundred, 2,500 seats is there got up for grabs, local council seats. And people, they'll start moving away from their party, trying to, divorce themselves from it, just so you'll vote for them on their personal history. Don't get sucked in. Don't vote for any of them. They're all the same and they don't like you. Otherwise, they'd be doing what you really want them to do. But they don't, do they? Yeah,
that's Britain for you.
Yeah.
But Maya Tusi's just going out to Paris, I believe. And
I saw that.
Heating up over there. I believe there was some riots last night and more expected today, possibly. There's some football going on, and Israel and Israelis there.
Right.
And
yes, yeah.
This could be quite an interesting event. We'll see how it goes. I hope he's going to be all right, and wish you all the best, Maya, and that you remain safe.
Yeah, Maya, you just be very careful, mate. Everywhere you go, there's a riot, isn't there? You just be careful, young man.
Jeff, we've just found out the answer to it all. It's all Tusi's fault.
That's right. Yeah, blame it all on Maya Tusi. I think it's great. Yeah.
You notice if he reports on it, there's usually something going on. It's very strange.
Oh, dearie me. Anyway, I think we've done enough of being barking mad and all the rest of it. Country's gone to the cats. Oh, dear me. Yes, it has. And not the dogs, but to the cats. Yes. Oh, dear. They're all coming out now, aren't they? Rough justice. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you to Spider for your super chat. I can't actually repeat some of that on here.
Oh, right.
But
Okay.
thank you
Let's see
for
if
the
we can
super
find
chat.
it.
And I'm very annoyed that I can't say it. There are reasons, and I hope you can appreciate that because you've just given us a super
Yeah.
chat. But
But
thank
thanks
you.
very much. Yeah. If you
Yeah,
can
no,
see
genuinely,
that
thank you.
comment. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yes. Yes. Anyway.
Okay, well, anyway,
Yeah.
so I'd like to ask you all to please like this video and subscribe to the channel because it helps us
Yeah.
a lot. And tonight we've had a third party friend of ours who's going to be going through the live chat and who will at the end of it be finding out if there's anybody who's been causing a bit of a ruckus there. If there is, then that person will be removed or persons, and it's nothing to do with either of us. We will not actually be told of who that person is. If that person's gone, they'll be gone. This will be nothing to do with us. So yeah. Oh, one quick another super chat here from Michael Jones.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you,
seen it.
Michael. No more black sheep then. UK laughing stock. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just ludicrous. So anyway.
I'm sorry, but this just gets worse. The dogs are kicking off because of open border collies.
Oh dear, that's
Right.
no.
On that note, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye.